we begin.
Man, you know what my uncle asked me over Thanksgiving? Was like, we were playing this game called Laugh and Drink. It's a drinking game.
I would expect so.
Yeah. So you have to do weird things and stuff to make... So you pick a target, you get a card, you have to do the prompt to make them laugh. If they laugh, they drink, and you get the card, you get the point. If they don't laugh, they get the card, and you have to take a drink. And Monica got Eskimo kisses, and luckily she picked Alex, and they did the Eskimo kiss, whatever, until she laughed because it's super awkward. And then I was like, oh man, I couldn't do that, and they were like, Uncle Steve was like, why? Because you're a homophobe? I was like, no, I just have personal boundary issues. I was like, yeah, Alex is sitting right here. It's not like Alex is Monica's fiance now.
Oh.
But yeah, it's like, no, not homophobe.
Has nothing to do with the gender and everything to do with I am right next to something. That's like I don't want my face in somebody's face unless we are making out.
Yeah, and I don't need my nose touching everyone else's nose.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first thought was like, wow, what if you got a family member? That would be like really unpleasant.
There were some interesting ones that would be very awkward. I had to mime a blowjob on Brian for 10 seconds. And I had to say, this is the best Wowie Pop I've ever had.
I think we should definitely keep this in recording.
Oh, God. Oh, we need to make a soundbite board, a mixing board, so that periodically we can push a button and have it say that's the best Wowie Pop I've ever had.
Well, so the worst part was he didn't laugh.
Oh, my God.
Because literally, so I picked him, and before I even drew the card, everyone was like, you're going to have to like... So, the one that happened before my turn, Monica's, was she had to yell when she also picked Brian and had to yell Wingardium Leviosa to his crotch for like 30 seconds. She was like Wingardium Leviosa. And so it was my turn, and they're like, oh, you're gonna have to like mime blowing Brian. But I drew the card, and I was like, what the fuck?
All right, somebody's cheating or is a wizard.
Yeah, but so he was immensely prepared to watch me mime blowing him, but it didn't faze him at all.
Yeah. So all that indignity, and he is still lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta go harder.
Hilarious shit, though.
You gotta go harder. That's amazing.
But I don't know. I didn't know how to mime blowing his dick harder and going
Slower.
I do it slow
With eye contact.
Yeah, the more
I used
Go for the awkward
I did everything. I cupped the balls. Yeah.
And then do it poorly. That would be the other thing. Is that like first you're doing it good, and then you start doing things
teeth
that
and
you're just like, and then you do the like, you like that.
For those in audio land, Gabe
Like an ear of corn.
nibbling upon a mimed penis like an ear of corn, which, by God, would get me to laugh. If only just to make it stop.
But yeah, more wholesome. So we played that game. I also.
So how was your weekend with your nieces and nephews? I'm assuming they were in another room.
They had gone home. We
Yeah.
waited for the kids to leave before we played.
Van's family is twisted and demented, but responsible.
Yes.
Mostly.
And we switched to the adult Jackbox after the kids left.
Yeah.
But yeah, which, not a Jackbox sponsor, but the adult Jackbox pack, it's like 3 games, $15, totally worth it. Jackbox is awesome. If you don't know what it is, look it up.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Great party games.
But yeah, and we did a little D&D session with the niece and nephew, and that was awesome. It really pushed Story out of her comfort zone, which was like, as an uncle, was good to see her trying and like acting stuff out. Like at one point, we were trying to talk down a tree ant, so I could talk to plants as a bard, and she could talk to plants as a druid. And it was her turn, so she was like, we were trying to get her to, role play. Like, all right, what would you talk to this tree about to get them to be your friend and not to fight us? So after 10, 15 minutes of coaching, she was able to do it. It was adorable. Brian played it up, and it saved us 2 fights with 2 giant golems that we were going to get our asses kicked because we were level 5.
Nice.
So all in all, it was good. It was a good Thanksgiving. How are y'all's?
Yeah, top that story.
We ate food. It was real good. We took the traditional cousin walk, and
that's the walk where you go get high, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that walk. Yeah, no, I've got several engaged cousins at the moment, so it ended up becoming a newlywed game, which was pretty entertaining. Nothing super racy because they're the more conservative of the aunts and uncles were present and being themselves. They're fine. I don't want to, they're lovely people.
Yeah, I will admit, I guess we're at this age with my grandfather declining and stuff like that parts of his family don't come anymore. So it's just the immediate, so my uncle Steve and his family, and then my parents and our family. So it was probably one of the better Thanksgiving because all the old crotchety racist people weren't there.
Nice.
Well done.
Because they're slowly dying off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I should say there was no overt racism or anything like that. They're just less comfortable with the raunchier aspects of those kinds of games, especially since the 3 daughters are the ones that are
crazy hot.
Getting engaged. Yes.
Gabe has a very pretty family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every
pretty family needs the black sheep.
This is a lie. Gabe is a very pretty man.
Holding it down for the folks. It's fine.
That sounds nice. My Thanksgiving was much quieter. I don't have any. I have cousins on my mom's side, but they're in Virginia and Colorado, and some second cousins down in Deep East Texas. So I saw my parents, and they're good. My dad's best friend, that's the family, the uncle who's not related, and one of my dad's brothers, the only living dad brother. The other one died several years ago, but had been vanished into California for years before that. So I spent the day talking to septuagenarians and listening to hear them tell tales about when they were in college doing things that were frankly fucking creepy. I mentioned that it's not nothing terrible, just kind of the random douche broness that we do recognize more publicly now that shit never was acceptable, but was acceptable for long periods of time. And it's just you're 70. You don't need to be talking about this. Nobody cares about this. Don't relive this. It's 50 years ago, and it was really kind of creepy then.
And please sound less fond about it.
Yeah. I will say this. If I heard anybody talking about one of my students like that, or if I was an undergrad and heard any of my frat brothers talking like that, words would be had and they would get hit with something.
Yeah.
Because in my fraternity, you were allowed to hit people for being jackasses. Usually with something comical,
A wiffle bat.
or a dildo. We kept them around for just that purpose.
Dude, some of those dildos are
those things hurt.
Weapons, man. Some of those big floppy bastards will take you out.
We had the Spirit of Christmas, it was called, because it was a Christmas gift one year. 18-inch long, double-ended black dong, and you could get some mileage on that thing. That thing whipped, and it was hefty, so it hurt.
Yeah.
I had bruises for days. The best part was seeing it used ballistically. And one guy in our fraternity I saw him whip it from behind a couch, chuck it across a hallway, and pop somebody right in the forehead. It was just mushroom stamped at range. It was hilarious.
That's glorious.
Only used for violence, very specifically. But yes, it was. Yeah, that was fun. I lived in an interesting fraternity.
I hate to be the guy to tell you this, but it was not only used for violence.
No, we had very specific rules.
I know that you had very specific rules.
It was kept in a case.
I believe you, and believe me, it was not only used for violence.
No, trust me. We had others that were used for other things.
The moment you say this thing is for anything other than sexual activity, you know what people are going to use it for?
You would have a point with anybody but this crew of guys.
I'm just saying.
You again.
The
now
gays are
we,
enterprising.
They are, but the gays had we gifted our gays their own spirit of Christmas. They had and again it was kept under lock and key by the head of security for the house to be used for party nights when hitting people who were disabusing or were disobeying. You can say that all you want, and you can believe it all you want, but in this case,
to the core of my being,
you're mistaken. Sir.
I also accept your refusal to believe it for your own sanity. It's okay.
And I accept your need to believe it because everything has to be gay.
Even if there were no butts involved, like that went into an orifice at least once. Someone knows what the spirit of Christmas tastes like.
Okay, taste. I will acknowledge, but that. Not sexually, but not erotically,
it's a
but
giant cock, right? It can't be non-sexual.
Not erotically, but drunkenly on display. That, but I'm gonna blow this thing and everybody's gonna laugh.
And a little erotically.
Okay, a little erotically, but again,
I mean, nobody who has no interest in blowing dicks grabs a fake dick and starts blowing it.
that is true.
I mean,
it was mostly used for violence.
there you go.
And it hurt. It was kept clean.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's all very true.
Septuagenarian. The fuck is that? 70-year-old?
Septuagenarian. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You used a big word right off the bat. We haven't even started the academic shit.
5 minutes ago, there was an entire discussion about dildos in between.
I couldn't
interrupt the dildo talk.
How much? What?
I had to let the
Is
dildo
it a
talk
kind
play
of
out.
dildo?
Tiny.
Oh my god!
And the question becomes, how many gummies has Van had? Not to delay his reaction like that.
I just came from work.
My cousin.
Okay, that'll do it.
My cousin almost surprise macrodosed me on Thanksgiving.
Did you say macro?
Yes, I did.
That would be bad for you.
I walk up, and I love the cousin. He's one of my favorites. Walk up, and he's like, dude, I've got something for you. I was like, great, sounds cool, man. And then he was like, I'll give it to you later. And I was like, oh, it's drugs, cool. Nice. So we're outside at the outside table. We're sitting there eating, and he's like, oh yeah, I got a thing for you. And he pulls out a gummy from his pocket, and he hands it to me. And it's one of those little cube gummies. I've had many of them of varying doses. And I grab it, and I'm like halfway to my mouth, and my brain goes, this is that cousin, you need to ask more questions. And I was like, okay, good call, brain. And I was like, hey, bub, how much is this? And he goes, oh, it's a $3.50. And I was like, motherfucker, you just hand me a $3.50? I could just do this?
Okay, where is your cousin getting $3.50s? Because I would like a,
I'll ask it
yeah.
for you. But
I mean, I think the ones that I get are another 200. Yeah, $3.50 is a lot.
Yeah, $3.50 in a single thing. And I was like, are you like $3.50 per? And he was like, yeah. And he's like, it said something like 6,000 on the bag. And I was like, Jesus, dude. So he hands it to me, and then he goes, I took one 3 hours ago, and I'm having a great night. And I was like, I bet you are, buddy. And so then the rest of the night involved me just putting random food in front of him and watching him eat it.
Nice.
Which was very enjoyable, but I haven't had it yet, because I was like, if I take this now, I'm not going to be high until or I'm not going to be sober again until halfway through my work week, and I will do a lot of throwing up in the meantime. So,
yep.
Yeah, that's fair. And to clarify, mine are 200, but they're serrated or whatever, so you can pull them apart into 50, and I take 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, 50 is the ones that I do as well.
Yeah,
that's what I thought most of them were. So
the same dimensions as my 50, because they add it as an oil, so the actual physical size of the edible doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah, I don't buy a lot of edibles because they don't work very well for me. But I do like the drinks, because they tend to work, for a can or two.
Nice.
And I picked up some can of pepper, which is Dr. Pepper flavored. But yeah, it's tasty stuff. I do like the drinks, and I find them that like 25, 50, 100 milligram for the drinks. Those I like.
Yeah, I can do the chocolates at like half, at like 20, and that'll mess me up because of the the simple sugars and digesting it hits faster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, on the subject of everything being gay, Superman. Because we're talking about, in part, My Adventures with Superman, which is it's been out 2 seasons now on, I think it's on Adult Swim, on their, like, Toonami block on Saturday nights in the summer. It's on Cartoon Network. I don't know when, because I don't have cable. I stream now.
Yeah.
But it's also on HBO Max, because Max is also a stupid name. Has to be, HBO Max is better.
Agreed.
We had a conversation earlier about how X was a very stupid name and only a stupid person would have it for a company.
The worst part of HBO Max being just Max is now you can't say HBO and blowy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's-
what are you going to say now?
Yeah.
Max and Stacks?
Anyway. So yeah, My Adventures with Superman. It's been out 2 seasons. They're coming out with a 3rd one, I think.
Max and Stacks.
It's...
Sorry.
Anyway.
It's my favorite of the Supermans.
Yeah, it is. I think...
It is my favorite, yeah.
All of us and most of the people I've shown it to have said it's a great Superman. In case you don't know, you should watch it. Go watch it right now. Pause this. Go watch it. They gone? Good. Didn't like them anyway. All right. So anyway,
Except those of you who did go and watch and came back. We love
you're
you.
fine. You're great. You do as you're told. We like you.
The others are lying to themselves.
Yeah.
You do as you're told.
I'm a teacher. I have certain predilections.
I was the one with bad ancestry, but that's okay.
I mean,
I am the only white guy at the table, so
Yeah, I guess
the only
that's true.
purely white
Yeah,
guy
there
at
we
the
go.
table, and therein lies the ancestry.
anyway, I'm not sure how much of that we're going to keep in, but back to our goddamn topic.
Yeah,
My Adventures with Superman. It's Superman if it was Sailor Moon, and it is the greatest thing ever. I have met people who don't like it, and they are wrong, because it is the best Superman, or one of the best Supermen.
it's the best Superman.
I will say there are a couple other iterations that are equally as awesome, but it is, of the present day ones, or the ones in like our living memory, definitely the best. But the larger topic today is Superman boring?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Superman,
Gabe, weigh in.
Superman as a concept. I used to be a lot more on the Superman is boring train. A, Adventures of Superman helped a lot.
Yeah.
B, is that like, well, I don't know. So for me, it becomes a dilemma about One Punch Man.
Yeah.
Because my issue with Superman was always like, well, you just know he's gonna, main character his way out of this, and that it doesn't matter how implausible he needs to be to do that main charactering, he's gonna do it. And that by its very nature seemed like a boring concept. And then you go and you watch One Punch Man, and it's glorious. And it's the same concept, but used in a very different way, and it is just unrelentingly entertaining.
Yeah.
I mean, it is true, but Superman is a One Punch Man, and that's why Superman's boring.
He's not depressed about it. Yeah.
I see.
So I will, for my 2 cents worth. So I've been reading more and more Superman, and there are certain eras or epochs or kind of ways of doing him that can be really cool. Now, I will say he can also be very dull and very boring. To me, kind of the worst examples are like the Bronze and Dark Age stuff. So like the 70s, 80s, 90s. Superman the Animated Series is really good at kind of encapsulating the character, but half the time he just, like, his go-to move is to stand there and look stern at people, and until they just give up at him.
Yeah, boring.
But done well, he can be very entertaining. Like, even in the 90s, I read it not too long ago. There's Milestone Comics, which I've told you guys about. It was a creator-owned company, mostly black and people of color creators, or all people of color, I think mostly black, focusing on inner city comics and characters, and it was really cool. They had a crossover with DC in a period where, like, they didn't know what the multiverse was, so because it was banned at that point. And so, like, a bunch of gangbangers are fighting Superman, and the fun part about it is he is very, very clearly not fighting back. It's like, guys, stop it. Stop it, children. Please stop. You are getting very irritating. And finally, one of them, because he keeps saying, I'm Superman. No, you're not. Superman's a comic book character. Like, finally, one of them says, your mama know you walking around looking like Clark Kent? Excuse me? And then he gets a little serious, like,
what did you just say?
all he does is just go, enough, really loud, and flex, and everybody gets thrown back, and like, guys, I think this might be Superman. So, he's got that invulnerability, but it can be played with as a fun thing. I was going to say, in ways he reminds me of Bruce Lee. Because if you watch a Bruce Lee movie, you know Bruce Lee's going to win. That's never in doubt. That's why you go to the movie in the first place. The question is, what's going to push Bruce over the edge and make him start winning? So it's the build up to that. So it's not inherently boring, although I do grant you that it can be done poorly and it can be really dull.
Well, and I think if we're approaching the question of is Superman boring, I mean, you got to lay out your criteria, right?
Sure.
Like, are we saying that is the character if you look at the total works of Superman, are there exceptions here and there where somebody did a good job with him and he was interesting and cool? Or is it interesting and cool mostly along the way with these spans of boring in between them? Like, and how do we set that kind of bar?
Because he mostly boring all the time except for like a couple of runs.
Right. Because if it's only like 3 or 4 examples of him being not boring, then Superman's generally boring, and some people have done cool stuff with him.
Yeah. I would say it's the other way around. I would say he's generally kind of interesting, and then he can get boring when people stop realizing what he is.
Well, I mean, we definitely grew up with the 90s version, which was boring as fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
he's like Cyclops.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
the 90s
we've all seen 90s X-Men 97. Cyclops can be a badass.
Yes.
And if you read the original X-Men, like the 60s ones before Wolverine, Cyclops was like the broody loner and was angsty and kind of cool. But yeah, and then he became spoiled rich boy douche.
Superman's too powerful, he's too perfect, he's too Boy Scout, he's too pinnacle that like I find him boring. He's not like risking anything. Like,
so I will say I think the biggest problem there is probably the Boy Scout. Which I think you're right about, that he becomes, the big blue Boy Scout, and that's dull. But that's, again, more of like a 80s, 90s thing when they're not sure what to do with him. So, like, when you get the early days of Superman from his inception up through, like, the 70s, so, like, the Gold and Silver Ages, kind of the height of Superman has every single power that they need to beat this episode. He accidentally sneezes and blows away a solar system.
Yeah.
He flies
I can
across.
free stuff now. What?
Yeah. Just, he has whatever power. He's kind of a douche. He's a really sneaky son of a bitch of like, yes, I have all the infinite power and I'm playing with all these petty mortals. Oh, look, Lois thinks she's tricking me. How am I going to fuck with her head today? Oh, like in one of the episodes, the famous one is like, he adopts Jimmy Olsen. Which is Jimmy's greatest wish ever, and then proceeds to be an absolute asshole to him. Like, your gift is not good enough. I'm going to tear it in half. Oh, you got bad grades on a report card. I'm going to ground you in the Fortress of Solitude. You can't see your friends. And is just a complete monster to him until Jimmy, like, cries and gives up and is like, I don't want to be your son anymore. That's what I was waiting to hear, my boy. You see, I saw this in my future machine, that if you were my son for real and I was nice to you like I wanted to be, something horrible would happen. So, in fact, I had to be a dick the whole time. And so there's this...
That's terrible. I hate that.
It's terrible. Some of it is, again, monstrous. But the question is, like, it's an informed characteristic that he's got all the powers. It's not the punch-up that's the question. It's the social questions, his Clark identity. Because Superman always wins, but navigating the Clark aspect is what makes it difficult. And we get that with My Adventures with Superman, where he is the big blue Boy Scout, but he's new at it and kind of sucks, and everybody has Kryptonian tech, so it's an even fight, and like he can be a big blue Boy Scout and still be just, as you have said of other characters, the cinnamonnest of buns.
Yes.
And it's adorable, and I love it.
Well, the other thing is that he's legitimately bad at being Clark. So he's like a very...
No. He's bad at being Superman.
Well,
He's bad at hiding the Superman.
Sure, yeah. Sorry, I don't mean Clark as being a persona. Or
He's bad at being normal.
Yeah, he's an awkward, shy, nervous dude that is all too relatable.
Yeah.
In his like Lois accidentally holds his hand and he just like blushes and blanks out on anything else that she was saying, and then realizes that they're in the middle of a fight and is like, oh god, oh wait, what do I do?
Yeah,
like that's so relatable. And that's, again,
I would posit the relatability is what makes him more interesting.
Yeah,
right. I can't relate to an alien who's perfect.
Yeah.
So I would say that's kind of the key, and it's a lot of people have said this. For the best Superman is Clark. Like, Clark is the real character, Superman is the mask.
Yeah.
And Batman is the inverse. Batman is the real character, Bruce Wayne is the mask he wears.
Yeah.
So the one without anything on his face is the fake one in both cases. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you get that in like there was a really good Kingdom Come ends with like a mortal guy just saying, no, Superman, your greatest power is your morality, your humanity. You are a superhuman. Like, you're the best there is at being human, and that's what makes you you. So I like the Silver Age stuff, even not so much the, he's a monster, but kind of the, playing with Lois and being tricksy and, having fun with it, because there's that dichotomy, Superman always going to win, but Clark has to figure it out. And again, he could just throw off the mask and win automatically, but spoils the game. So in that version, I think it's more about Clark, and that can provide some fun. Whereas, again, later on, 80s and 90s, it's all about Superman, and Clark just kind of falls by the wayside, and it loses a lot of its humanity.
Gotcha.
I will also say, on a completely different note, Golden Age Superman, not so much like the 40s, but the late 30s, early 40s, is a blast. Because he is not like a super god. He has fun beating the shit out of bad guys. Like, you hear the radio programs like, all right, we're going to rough you up. Oh, there's 20 of you thugs. Come on, you bunch of punks. And he's like, you could punch a man through the moon, and you are having way too much fun slapping these guys around. Yeah, because they're a bunch of dirty crooks who deserve it. Also, that guy's a corrupt capitalist. I'm going to fuck him up. Like, Superman, are you a commie?
Superman's a Smurf account.
A what?
Smurf account. So, like in video games, when you play a game where you level up and stuff, and you
get rankings or whatever.
Yeah, and so then you're playing against people who are just as skilled as you are. People will make new accounts, so they're like that skill level, but they're playing against newbies.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you can slap them around.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And like
Making a Smurf account. So yeah,
he picks up, like, he at one point finds a corrupt senator in
Superman
Washington.
is smurfing. You heard it here first.
He picks up a corrupt senator and just like starts running along electrical wires, going like, "Gee, I hope I don't touch both at once, or we'd be fried. Boy, aren't we high up here, guy? Boy, I hope I don't fucking slip." And the guy's like, "Don't kill me." Maybe. So yeah, early
that all
Superman
kind of depends on you, doesn't it?
Early Superman came out of the Great Depression, and the creators were mad as hell at everything, and like he was a super reformer and very much, pro labor, fuck up some capitalists, like demolishes a slum as a tornado and then just rebuilds the whole thing into nice houses and then slaps around the slumlords.
See, that sounds way too relatable right now.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that, Superman.
I know.
Yeah.
That's that.
Yeah, I'm all about that. Superman.
That's
That
Superman.
Superman could show
Great.
up right now and just start smacking some landlords. I'd be cool with that.
This is also the Superman who fought the Ku Klux Klan.
Yeah,
Nice.
Which I have a.
Why did they change
there is-
Superman?
Well, he got the original creators lost the rights. The company got a company and wanted to keep making money, and so he became kind of status quo reformer.
that.
Yeah.
So capitalism killed Superman after he beat up capitalists.
A little bit. Alan Moore is on board. Like, Alan Moore writes everything about how superheroes are fascists, and he hates them all. But he loves early reformer, fuck up some, pro the union, fuck up some bourgeois. He loves that Superman. Like, that guy's cool.
I like that
him.
Superman.
I love.
That's the category. It's the capitalism strategy. If you can't beat them, buy them.
Yeah.
hate that.
So when Superman is at his best, he is awesome, and he can be a lot of fun. Even when he is kind of like the super reformer, he has it's a different type of fun, but it's like there's play there, and some of it is like, yeah, he is perfect, but I don't know. So is like your average Greek myth character, you know.
Who?
Well, I mean, they're not morally perfect, but they're
I squint.
Yeah. They're perfect in terms of power, of like their power personified. You know, Zeus is always going to win the fight because he's Zeus, unless he gets tricked.
Gotcha.
Yeah, again, Zeus is a terrible person. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And the
Greatest lie Disney ever told was that Zeus was a family man. But yeah, my supposition is Superman doesn't have to be boring. Superman done well is really good.
So we just grew up in the Superman Dark Ages, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and like the biggest thing in our lifetimes or in our early childhoods was the death of Superman, or the death and rebirth of Superman, which was really stupid. Like, he got punched to death by Doomsday, which was just a giant monster that wanted to punch things. It had no reason. It had no story. It was just, we're going to kill off Superman and sell some comics. So yeah, we were born in an age that sucked.
Gotcha. They just
Surprise! You couldn't tell from everything?
well, some of the other superheroes were enjoyable and great, but Superman,
Yeah.
I guess, I don't know. Well, so him and comic book Iron Man, I hated comic book Iron Man.
Oh yeah, comic book Iron Man is
Iron Man
terrible.
is the worst.
Iron Man has
Whiny
been
bitch.
was garbage up until Robert Downey Jr.
I
Yeah.
agree with that.
You guys keep going. I'm going to grab 2 books real quick.
All right. I do like the new Superman. My Adventure Superman is amazing.
It's so
I
good.
do enjoy that
It's
one.
so good. That one.
So our they killed Superman for us. They were very successful with me. I don't even categorize the New Adventures of Superman as Superman in my brain.
It's like its own thing.
Yeah, it's like
Like, it's this really cool anime.
yeah.
I will say one thing I really loved about it, especially for those folks who were like, "No, this is not my Superman." I was like, "No, it's not your Superman.
It's better.
Well, in the 5th episode, in the first season, like Mr. Mixyas shows up as an anime imp, and it's amazing. But he's like, yeah, every universe, Clark Kent is Superman, and starts popping off Earths and transforming Clark, and he hits the Max Fleischer cartoons, the Super Friends cartoon, the animated series, and then a crap, like Super Crap. But it's like, clearly, no, your Superman is still out there in his own universe. That is still valid. Mm-hmm. This is not the Superman. It's a Superman. So, like, you could still have lots of fun, and this one can be a dork and less powered, and it does not delegitimize your Superman. So I like that.
Yeah.
Now, granted, still people bitch about it, but I think it's great.
Yeah. Because it is objectively
It is.
the best Superman.
It really is.
It's so good.
Well, not the best, but one of the best. Because I would also present to you, this is the comic version of that Superman versus the Ku Klux Klan radio. Superman Smashes the Klan by, I will point out, Jean Luen Yang, and the artist is Guru Hiro.
That sounded Asian.
Yes, they are both Asian. It's manga.
Ah, cool.
It's anime style. It's a slightly different take from the radio. Like, it's the same story, but they tweaked a few bits, and they made the daughter a bigger character. But, like, yeah, Superman spent 3
This
weeks.
is like Nazi Iron
Iron
Man
Man.
getting his ass handed to him right now.
Yeah, it's great.
I wonder, is it a weird copyright thing if we like do a slow pan across one of the pages? Just
I
to
don't.
get the
I
art?
think we can fair use like a page or 2.
Okay,
To
just
show
give
the
people
art.
the art
So yeah,
style because that's very cool.
I will definitely include an image of the art style because it's really, really cool and I love it. But like, I love this. I love talking about this in my classes because it's in the 50s or the 40s, late 40s, early 50s. There we go. After World War II, the Ku Klux Klan was a huge organization. Like, they had theme parks and shit and summer camps because people are awesome. Yes, they did. Look it up.
I
It's
don't
Wow.
want to.
America is horrible.
That's a little piece of American history I did not know, and I'm sad
It's
to
it's
now
the
know.
second Ku Klux Klan, and they're awful. But basically, a bunch of people thought they sucked and wanted to get rid of them. So one guy went deep cover, like went in, got involved, learned all their secrets, and he's okay. I got to bring them to somebody who can destroy these bastards. Does he go to the FBI? No. Does he go to the cops? No. Does he go to Washington? No. He goes to fucking Superman. Because Superman will kick the shit out of the Klan. And he brings them the secrets. And admittedly, this is the exaggerated stories like, yeah, the radio show killed him. No, it was a big operation. The police and FBI were involved and all this stuff. But the public part of it was, for 3 weeks straight, the Adventures of Superman radio show, Superman went on air to all the children of America and said, these Klansmen are like the Nazis that we just fought. They're un-American. They're idiots.
They're the bad guys.
They are the bad guys. They are morons. They are all being duped for robe and membership fees by a bunch of guys who don't even care about racism.
Yeah.
They just want to get rich. And yeah,
Because the real enemy was capitalism all along.
it was. But yeah, because of this, Klan membership, and because of the larger activities, Klan membership nosedived and has never recovered.
Good.
So a fictional character beat the shit out of a real-world terrorist organization and damn near killed him.
That's fucking
So
awesome.
yeah, hooray for the power of art. So yeah, that is again, that's why I can't say My Adventures is the best, because that early days Superman, pretty badass.
Yeah. It would help
This is
bring
my
up the
favorite,
Klan.
and I would say the most enjoyable Superman. I will admit that Superman who fought the IRL KKK
Yeah.
the best Superman.
So yeah, I will admit, I still love My Adventures. It's one of the greatest.
I'm willing to concede that too.
Yeah. And then the other one that I wanted to do, it's somewhere in here, I know it. Oh, there it is. So, Silver Age Superman, huh?
I was gonna say, if the My Adventures Superman does end up fighting Nazis or the KKK, then he might again take the top spot.
That is accurate. If I will say, if My Adventures Superman punches some Nazis, I might have to readjust my expectations.
Do you hear us, people who make My Adventures Superman? Show us Clark kicking the shit out of some Nazis, please. Thank you.
Punch Nazis, you cowards!
And maybe his hair is pink while he does it. I'm just
Or,
throwing it out
or
there.
I will
the
buy all
cape
the
turns
merch.
into a rainbow spontaneously just for a few seconds.
Yeah,
Just-
and
We'll give you money.
Not a lot, because we're not very rich, but we will give it to you. You can get our subscription fees.
Yes.
So yeah, My Adventures is great. Early Golden Age Superman is pretty badass. I will say, Silver Age Superman again is pretty cool, even with his infinite cosmic, always wins powers. To me, the best take on that, and the one that really gives you an okay, this can be a really cool character, is All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison and Frank Quietly.
Too far to, for people like me, what's the age range that we're talking about with the Golden Age, Silver Age?
Oh, sorry. Golden Age starts with All-Star Action Comics #1, 1938. Runs. Nerds argue about everything, so there is no clear delineation. But
course.
my numbers are All-Star Superman 38 or Action Comics #1. There we go. 1938 to 1956, when a lot of these comics fold right after Seduction of the Innocent is published, which says comics are making juvenile delinquents. Silver Age starts with Showcase Presents #1, which is the first Silver Age Flash. Barry Allen instead of Jay Garrick.
Okay.
So the Flash that everybody knows with the whole bodysuit, as opposed to the guy with jeans and a t-shirt and the Hermes helmet. Silver Age runs from 56 to about 1970. Bronze Age is 70 to about 85. When you get Crisis on Infinite Earths, 86 you get Dark Knight Returns and Watchmen. And those make comics gritty and serious and adult, because people missed the entire fucking point. Yes, this is a mature comic about actual themes about fascism and ideology. Ooh, we should make dark people punch things with their tits out. Like that, guys. We want it. That's not what serious and mature means. No, stop buying those, you idiots. Quit giving them your money. You are making us all look bad.
Capitalism.
I hate how often I hate how often you say that, and I really hate how often it's accurate.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then the Renaissance age is about 2000 to now-ish. I would argue that we're possibly even moving into an age of exploration when everything's diversifying. Like, we get anime Superman. I just saw 2 really cool volumes, Joker the World and Batman the World, where they have, like, Batman as he appears in Brazil and Japan and Hungary and
cool.
Italy, and it's written by authors and artists from these countries. So it's
cool.
Everybody's take on these American heroes, which is awesome.
That's super cool.
Or like My Hero Academia, which is Marvel if it was an anime.
Yeah.
So yeah, because it's awesome.
Also, for those of you just listening, there's literally we're sitting under a banner of My Hero Academia.
This is I may or may not have a hyperfixation on superheroes, such as life. But yeah, so the Silver Age Superman, the one that's got all the like phenomenal powers of like I can hear people billions of miles away across space. Like, physically, no, you cannot. That is not how physics works.
There's no sound for you to detect.
You can't see them either because light speed, you asshole. But comics don't understand that. Anyway,
Nope.
So that Superman who is infinitely powerful and always wins everything can be very boring, but done well. Grant Morrison does the best version of him, and it's All-Star Superman, where he basically flies into the sun and gets poisoned by too much solar radiation by Lex Luthor.
Huh.
So Lex wins, Superman is dying, and Superman has to do like 12 labors to cement his status forever. And it's that story. And it's really cool, and it's got him doing all these sorts of things, and it's very fascinating, very Silver Age, because Grant Morrison loves that shit.
Why does he have to do... So he's poisoned and Lex Luthor can cure him? Like, why is he...
Well, I think it's like somebody from the future says he does them. So it's like, you did this, and this was your greatest moment, and then you kind of disappear from the history books. Or like, the history books go blank, because shenanigans and civil wars, etc. I don't remember. It's been a minute since I read it.
Okay.
But really, to me, this is the power of Superman. There's a... Shit, I'm just going to show it to you, and I'm just going to show the image on the recording. It's this page.
That's nice.
Yeah. It's Superman, and in the... You see her in previous panels, like, talking to her therapist. There's actually one, just a small scene after Superman saves a train. He's flying by, and somebody's saying, "No, I got held up. No, don't put it down the phone. Just stay in the apartment. Believe me, I'm on my way." He's flying by, hears that, just casually, and stops everything to save a girl who's about to jump. And I'm tearing up, in case you can't tell, but... yeah, I've dealt with depression, and there have been nights when that kept me alive. And so that's, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, that's good to know.
So, like, I don't know. To me, there's a lot of power in Superman. And to say that he's boring because he's perfect and always wins is accurate in terms of narrative, but it's also kind of like saying, Jesus and Buddha are boring. Kinda, but that's not exactly the point of them. Superman is, at least in part, is meant to represent the best of us.
I mean,
our ideals.
But also,
Which doesn't always make for an entertaining story, I'll admit.
I mean, also, like, I know that you're turning up and stuff, and I'm about to shit on you. But...
You bastard.
Jesus and Buddha are entertaining because they are still relatable. Like, Jesus still fucks up. Like, he does, like, he goes to the church, he has a temper tantrum, and he throws everything around. Like, he still does things that a human can relate to.
That is blasphemy. Like, I agree with you, but there are long traditions saying, no, Jesus is perfect, and he was right to do that because that was the appropriate action, and it was no way fallible.
It was
because I personally, I agree.
He's human incarnate. That's the whole point of Jesus.
Yes, but that's not what the church says.
But that's what
Yes, I am agreeing with you. Go yell at a priest.
To be fair,
You come at my Superman, I break your brain.
to be fair, the priest isn't the one here giving him a hard time about it.
That's true. Look, you said you were coming at Superman, I had to break you.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Maybe we grew up with the lamest Superman possible, with like the cartoon and stuff. I am definitely for the pre-capitalist buyout of Superman, and I am for this new telling of Superman where it's more relatable. He's socially awkward, and he's supposed to be he's also more relatable in this because Superman's supposed to be a super genius, right?
Yeah.
He's perfect in every freaking way. And so he's a super genius, and now it's like he's that really smart, nerdy guy who's socially awkward.
Yeah.
Instead of like, I'm a super genius and I can navigate any scenario I want. And like even that little like humanity and relatability makes him way more interesting.
Yeah, that is true. And I will say, I think, again, during our time, they lose a lot of that. Even during, like I said, during the Silver Age, a lot of the joke or the plot is, how's he going to fool Lois this time? Or like, because he wants, not that he has to keep the Clark Kent, but he wants to. Mm-hmm. So that gives him a heel, that makes him relatable. And a lot of authors have talked about, even from the get-go, Clark is the relatable aspect. We are Clark, we wish we were Superman. So yeah, to find some common ground, I think we would both agree that it can be very boring. It can be done well, and the best part of Superman is Clark. Mm-hmm. So last comment, if you're okay with me shifting and not letting you shit on my precious Superman too much.
I am willing to concede this, and I do now want to read those books.
Yeah.
To see an interesting Superman and more than just the anime like Magic Girl, which is still amazing.
Oh yeah.
But like to see him like do something like that and be more interesting and help take on the fucking KKK. That's fucking awesome. Like I don't care.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's great. I will make sure to put a link to the because there are several YouTube channels that have collected the radio show. So I'll put a link to it. It's like 2 hours long for the full thing. It's pretty good.
Also, when we were talking about, all I can hear is Captain Holt calling people punks. When you were talking about Superman, like, let's go punks. Punk. You never outgrowing being a punk.
Yeah.
You never outgrow punks, sir.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Right. Last thing. To bring it back, I really think that My Adventures, one of the coolest things it does, on the whole note of Clark being the best part, is from the get-go, and scholars have talked about this, they call it the wimp-warrior dichotomy. There's Clark and there's Superman, right? Superman is awesome. Lois loves Superman. She's all about him. She thinks Clark is a wuss and a wimp and a coward because he pretends to be. And so Clark is despised. He's feminine. He's otherized. Superman is the masculine, hard body, ideal, which is a fucked up, dichotomy way to visualize it. And you get a lot, because all superheroes are based off Superman, you get a lot of that in various secret identities. What's cool is My Adventures does away with that. With the whole thing of like, he's really shit at pretending to be Superman. Like, they do a whole thing. First season is 10 episodes. By episode 4, Lois has figured it out. Yeah. And by episode 5, she's confronted him, and like, they do a great thing of spoilers. Obviously, I'll put a spoilers mark on the episode. But like, they do a great thing of like, have you ever noticed how often Clark steps out of the room for bagels? Like, crime in progress. Oh, gotta run for bagels. Yeah. Never mind, Superman showed up, it's fine. Hey guys, I'm back. Like, oh, another cat up a tree. Oh, I forgot the cream cheese. And Lois is just staring at him the whole time. It's like, he sucks at this. He keeps knocking doors off.
Just destroying shit accidentally.
Just accidentally using his super strength. There is no wimp warrior. It's all Clark all the time. And he is a little wimpy, and he is a badass warrior who can like punch robots out. Except that they're all Kryptonian tech, so then like 5 more robots, he can't punch those. And relies on the power of friendship to win.
Yeah.
Because friendship and diversity. kind of says something that the big, powerful, masculine white guy can't save the day by punching, and the brown best friend and the Latina girlfriend have to help. Pretty sure there's a message there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that they do away with the wimp warrior thing.
Mm-hmm.
That there is no like otherized, it's just him all the time, which is a lot healthier view of masculinity.
Yeah.
You can be a big, powerful Superman and still be a colossal dork and a huge romantic. Like he is the sweetest boyfriend in the world. Like
Yeah.
he's so sweet, and I love there's so much power of love, and it thrills my tiny little 12-year-old girl heart. Like, I love shoujo. I can't deny it. I love that shit.
Yeah, me too.
And this hits all the right buttons. And like, yes, they went through the power of love because their love is pure.
Yeah.
Fuck you, evil. So yeah. Long story short, My Adventures as Superman is great. Go watch it and listen to a much earlier Superman punch some Nazis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Avoid the 90s.
Avoid the 90s. It's
Yeah.
there are a few bright moments. There are a few okay spots. Steel was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Steel was pretty cool.
Yeah, like the whole they killed Superman off and they replaced him with 4 Superman. 3 of them sucked. Steel's like, no, I'm gonna be an homage because like Superman means something. Like, no, you're badass. You go be awesome. Everybody else die.
Yeah, I don't even remember the other ones. I remember Steel.
Yeah.
Superboy was one of them. Connor Kent, and then they retconned him and made him actually not suck, which is more like the Young Justice version.
Gotcha.
The 90s version had a leather jacket, spiked hair, and sunglasses, and wanted to be in Hollywood because he sucked. Because 90s suck. Garbage time. Don't bring it back. They tell me the young people these days, they want to bring back the 90s for fashion. Don't do it. It was terrible. We were there.
They had some good cartoons.
Some of the cartoons were awesome.
Yeah,
But a lot of the cartoons were...
90s Spider-Man was pretty rad.
90s Spider-Man, 90s X-Men,
Yeah,
90s
X-Men
Disney
was so
lineup
good.
was pretty solid.
And the Batman. 90s Batman I enjoyed.
Oh yeah, but there was also a lot of crap, like that. Every movie got a cartoon. There was a cartoon about RoboCop. They made RoboCop a child-friendly Saturday morning cartoon.
I don't know if I knew that.
You shouldn't have known that. If you knew it, your brain blocked it out to protect you.
Probably.
Yeah, they made a cartoon of The Mask, which was also terrible.
I also didn't know.
I
I did
didn't
know
know
that
that,
one, actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I loved Jim Carrey, so when the
Yeah.
mask came out, I watched it.
And they made a cartoon of like every Disney movie, and they all sucked. They still do that. They still suck. Like they suck is too hard. They are perfectly okay. They are bland as can be, but they are quite entertaining if you're loaded on a Saturday afternoon. So you know they don't deserve to not exist.
They're doing a better job with that now than they did in the
Yeah,
90s. For
they
sure.
are still cheap cash-ins of the movies.
Yeah.
But they're high quality cheap
Yeah,
cash-ins.
they're better cheap cash-ins than the previous.
It's like
cash-ins.
cheap cash-ins and licensing holding on to.
Yeah.
Yes.
The deal. But it's still, those things do not make for quality.
Yeah, but anyway, much of the '90s sucked. Let's only remember the good parts and try to forget the rest. My Adventures with Superman, awesome. Superman punching Nazis, always good.
Yeah.
Anything else to add?
Nope.
Okay.
No, just pro-Nazi punching.
Pro-Nazi punching. I think
Pro-Nazi
that's a
punching.
stance we are willing to.
Yep,
we are
I'll-
willing to
I'll die on
stand
that
by.
one.
Yep. Us, Superman, and Captain America.
Yep.
Just to name a few people
Yeah.
who believe strongly that Nazis are punchable.
You heard it here, folks. When in doubt, punch a Nazi. On that note, take care. Bye.